for me personally, a bug out bag or bug out kit that's going to get me from one area to the other begins with two things. And those two things are two of my everyday carry items. And that's my pistol and extra magazines. With these two items, I already have a benefit. I already have an advantage. I have a means to defend myself, a means to take an aggressive approach if necessary. So let's look at the kit, and some of these items may be things you've already thought about, maybe things you already have, but some of them might help you out. Start off with a good pair of gloves. Never hurts. A good pair of work gloves. I have these right here, and these are some excellent gloves. I like these a lot. I've had them for years, and they've served me well. So I'm going to start with the kit, and I'm going to work my way around the outside of the kit, and we're going to take off the peripheral equipment to begin with, and look at what each part of it does. So starting right here, these two parts of the kit are basically the same thing. What we have right here is this is actually a Wise Company water bottle, and this water bottle has a purification filter, and this particular filter is rated for everything up to radiological contaminants. So I will get about 10,000 gallons of water out of this, so this is going to purify a lot of water for me. But also remember that when it comes to your water purification bottles, that you can remove the filter. If you have the means to purify your water, say boiling your water, which is what you should do, then boil your water and drink it out of this as a cup instead of using your filter, because the more you use your filter, the less you're going to be able to use it in the future. So you want to maintain and keep this equipment as long as you can. Second, in this pouch I have a secondary means of water purification, and it's a Sawyer purification system. This is a pretty good system. It's a very highly regarded on the market, and it works really well. This is the Sawyer Mini, and this little system is good for 100,000 gallons of water. It can attach to a water bottle, or you can drink directly from a lake, river, or stream. Now be aware, once again, this does filter everything but radiological contaminants and some types of bacteria. So that's going to be dependent on which version you buy. There are several different types of filters on the market. So be familiar with what the filter that you purchase will and will not filter out of your water, because it still can be dangerous if you have a lower level filter. So water purification is a definite necessity. So as we work our way around the bag here, I do have a lot of gear. I believe stronger in skills, but I also believe that gear is an absolute necessity for long-term survival, or at least to make it easy. I have a nice compass here. This is an old military compass, and using that along with what I keep here, a map of my local area, along with a nice little handbook on evasion and recovery and rescue. Now, I'm military trained, so a lot of this information I've actually trained at firsthand, but it's still nice to have a refresher, and it's always a good idea to have at least one map of the local area that you're in. Now, I have a much larger collection of maps than that, but that's the only one that I keep in this particular bag right now. So, with our compass and our map, we should be able to find our way. Now, also check out the Apocalypse Tips series on the Serious Survivor channel. We have some excellent videos on land navigation without a map and a compass, and that's a very important skill that can save your life, because that compass works well, but if it takes a bullet, it's not going to work anymore. So if I don't know how to navigate without a compass, then I'm going to be at a loss at that point in time. Another item I keep as a peripheral or connected to the outside of my bag is this hatchet, and it's a pretty good little hatchet. I got it at a reasonable price. It was less than $15, and it's not the greatest on the market, but it does the job pretty well. Another device that I keep as a peripheral piece of equipment is a very sharp little knife set here. Two knives. I like knives, so I always have a lot of knives in my kits. So I got two excellent knives here, very sharp. And as we start to get into the gear, get around to this side, then up top here we see the line. I keep my line tied to the outside and then use it as necessary. I have 3 packs of paracord there. That's paracord 550, and then this is just your standard line. This isn't paracord here, but it's always good to have line. Line comes in handy in more than one situation. You can use it to help build shelter. You can use it to do a lot of different things, set traps, set snares, to help in crossing rivers and things such as that. Line's a very important factor. It makes most top 10 lists for a very good reason. And next on the peripherals here, I also have a decent fixed blade knife here. This is a Camillus. I like it a lot. It's a titanium bonded knife. It's a very strong knife. It's 440, and it does really well. It holds the edge pretty well, and as long as I don't beat on it too hard, it's going to last me for quite a while. It's a pretty ergonomic grip, and it's less than 10 bucks. I got it at Walmart, I think, for $9.97, so you can pick these up pretty cheap, and they'll last you a while. It's not a K-bar, but it'll do the job. Another item I keep on the peripherals here, I feel is very important because I feel like intelligence, knowing what's around you, is just as important as a lot of the other factors. And it's a set of Pentax 8X binoculars. And they're pretty decent binoculars. They're not the top of the line. They're not infrared. They're not night vision, but they are very good at detecting things from a distance. And with those binoculars, it will assist me in hunting. It will assist me in defending my area. It will assist me in taking an aggressive position or an aggressive approach towards an enemy. And also in my bag, I carry an extra magazine pouch to carry 2 more magazines. But on a side note, when it comes to ammunition and I'm bugging out, I do have an ammo bag that I specifically carry rounds, and I carry magazines for my AR and for the different pistols that I may have with me. So this bag will attach over the side of this other bag, which does add weight, but without ammo, your guns are useless. So that's all we have on the outside here. On this side here, I do keep a roll of duct tape and another piece of twine. Now this isn't very strong, but it's pretty good at when I just need a small piece of line and I don't want to cut up my paracord, because once it's cut, you know, it's cut. So this is just some small line, some small cheap line that I can use for different tasks. I keep a little old timer right here, just on the outside of my bag. Also in the front pouch here, I have a couple of sets of plastic utensils for when I'm eating. Now when I start to get inside the bag, these are where the majority of the supplies obviously are. In the front pouch here, I do keep a lot of supplies. I keep a little extra Velcro strap just for different purposes. Here, I have some small picks and some small files tied. I also keep a cheap, it's very cheap, don't get me wrong, it's cheap, rechargeable, hand charged flashlight. So it's a nice little device to have as a backup. A lock, don't know why, just never know when you're going to need it. A multi-tool with a hammer. I like this multi-tool with a hammer because it also has a pair of pliers and several other tools there. So that does come in handy from time to time. But also have your, standard multi-tool here. And this is a Gerber. It's been very good to me. I've had this for a long time. A lot of good tools in here. Nothing's broke, nothing's bent, so it's worked pretty good. And then I do keep a backup, just a cheap little multi-tool set here. So I got a lot of tools to do different things. A bicycle tire pump. Now this can pump up anything with a valve stem. And it's not going to be very easy for me to pump up a car tire. But in cases when I have a wagon that I'm pulling, or who knows what I'm pulling, or who knows what I'm riding, then I do have a pump there just in case. And it only weighs about 5 ounces. A few pens. I always keep a few pens to write things down. Some toothpaste. Flashlight. I'm a firm believer in a bright flashlight for obvious reasons. Then I have some general supplies in the pouch here. Some Kleenexes. Some emergency candles. These burn for 4 to 5 hours each, and they burn fairly brightly, so they'll light up your shelter, your area. Also have a memory card, flash drive, and a lens cleaner. Lens cleaner works from everything from a camera to your cell phone to my binoculars to a rifle scope. So that's my first pouch there. Well, have a couple more things. A rain poncho here. And a small little waterproof kit. This is a small little kit. It's just another little first aid type of kit. I do got a cheap compass in it. I do got another glow stick in there, some more line, an emergency blanket. But it's a watertight kit, so when I use those devices, if I have something that I don't want to get wet, then it's something that I can easily put in that particular kit. Another emergency blanket. These are good for multiple purposes. These don't just keep you warm, but Let's say the instance someone's looking for you with infrared and they're using a drone and it has infrared technology. Well, if you put a space blanket over you and cover yourself at night, then theoretically this will block that infrared. It will not allow you to be picked up. And also in the desert, if you put the reflective side out, it will reflect away most of the heat, and it will allow you to build a shelter that will maintain a little bit of a cooler temperature than the external temperature. A lot of uses for those. But remember, most of those little space blankets that you pick up for $1, they're $1 for a reason. They're cheap, they tear easy, so you could invest in a good one or pick up a few small ones. Then I have a bag of miscellaneous supplies here. These are things that are definitely going to come in handy. Things that are definitely going to be a necessity, in my opinion, at least for me as a person. Some tie wraps. I like tie wraps. I think they're very handy devices. A camping stove, a little foldable camping stove. These are pretty good. If you take your time opening them up and folding them back up and don't get in too big of a hurry, they last for a while. But you know, they are very thin metal, so if I get in too big of a hurry, if I try to force something with it, then it's not going to last long. A little notepad to take notes on. Another one of these emergency whistles. All right, these are pretty cheap devices. I mean, and what I mean is you can pick them up at a cheap price, but it does have some matches in it. It has a compass on top, has a whistle, a lanyard, which could serve as line. So it's can come in handy. A built-in signal mirror. I carry magnifying glass, so that I can read, whatever I'm trying to read. Also, here I have a small. This is for eyeglass repair kit. This is a small eyeglass repair kit. I do wear glasses when I read, so this is something that would be a necessity for me. Just some more cord or string. A charge bar. Another charge bar. As odd as it may seem, a voice recorder. Who knows? You never know what you're going to need. And inside this, I'm not going to open it up, but this is some fishing tackle and some fishing line so that I can fish. A glow stick for light. The thing about glow sticks is they illuminate the immediate area you're in, but when you're using colors like red and green, then they're not seen as far away. So it's not really going to be concealed, but it's not going to be as bright as when I break out this flashlight right here. So they're handy for illuminating your campsite, things such as that. A GoPro. Not really sure why I keep this in my bug out bag, but maybe I just want to record the end of time events if they ever happen. Now this is a device. I took this out of, I went to the Dollar Tree and I bought a big magnifying glass they have. And when I took it apart, I noticed it was made up of 2 lenses. Now these lenses can be used for a couple of things. One is it actually helps me read smaller items. 2 is we all know that we can start a fire with a lens, and this is a pretty symmetrical, and it's made out of hard plastic so it doesn't scratch or break easy. So it's something I include with my kit. I have an extra toothbrush that fell out of its pack, a deck of playing cards, and for my charger here, I have actually a wall charger port. We never know what kind of situation we're going to be in, so if there is electricity, then I'm able to charge my devices. Just a small pick, pointer, another USB storage device with my personal information on it, another eyeglass repair kit. Those can come in handy for many things. And then the rest of the things I have in here, some waterproof matches, but these are some of my barter items, my silver coins. These are my copper coins, more mass memory there. And also in here there's actually a few diamonds and some scrap gold. So those would be barter supplies if money is still available, or being used I should say. And let's start pulling more things out. I have one of my favorites right here, my K-Bar 1211. When we talk about knives, K-Bar dominates the conversation, at least on my side. This has always been one of my favorite knives. The last one I had was the leather handle, the USMC version, and this is the K-Bar 1211, which is exactly the same design as the USMC version with a slight difference in the handle, the texture of the handle. But very strong blade, very, very sharp blade. I done shaved myself 2 or 3 times with this thing. And we all know the K-Bar. We all know the reputation K-Bar has, and we all know that K-Bar has earned that reputation. These are excellent, excellent fixed blade knives. These are excellent fighting knives. Also in my bag, I keep a CB radio. A CB radio, so that I can communicate with people on the citizens band. And here in the area I live in, these are still somewhat popular, and that's the reason I chose this over the, which I still need a satellite radio, but I chose this for the time being because more people that I know use the CB as opposed to the satellite radio. So if it is an apocalyptic event that does not include a grid down or a loss of power, then this is going to help me out a lot. Now also, for stealth activities, for reconnaissance, I do carry a night vision infrared camera. Now assuming there's no EMP, you know, of course some of this is going to be gone, but if there isn't an EMP and I still have power and my devices are good, well, I've got night vision here. And it's a pretty decent monocular. It's a night vision capability with a 3x zoom. It also records the data, and it has an infrared setting so I can view and look at things in infrared. And it works extremely well. I got a pretty good price on it. This was about 150 bucks. A cooking set. Cooking set's a necessity. Doesn't do me much good to have food or to hunt food or to fish unless I'm going to eat it right there off of the animal, unless I have a way to cook it. And these little 5-piece cooking sets, they're pretty good. I like them a lot because they bolt together in this little small little container, I guess you would say. And when you take it apart, you basically have everything one individual would need to cook with. You've got a plate, you've got a pot, you've got a cup. So you've got everything you need to boil water, to drink, and the cup is even a measuring cup. It's got lines on the inside that mark it. So you got a pot, a pan, everything you need to boil water, eat, cook your meal with. So it's a pretty handy little kit. These are really inexpensive because they're aluminum, so they're not much at all. I think I gave less than $10 for this one. But don't quote me on that. It might have been a couple dollars higher. And next, the box that this came out of is where I store my water, simply because it's a box and I try to avoid it getting holes punched in it. Now, we already know that we have a means of water purification with our Sawyer, and we have a means of water purification with our Wise Company food bottle. We have a means of water purification with our cooking kit because we can build a fire and we can boil that water. But we also have some purified drinking water here. And in this case, I've got 6 packs in each bag, and I got 2 bags of 6 packs. So that gives me a total of 12 packs. And if need be, that's 12 days. Although the body does need more water than 4.5 ounces a day, I can survive on that. Then I have a survival first aid kit. Now the first aid kit's in my bug out bag. This is just part of it, and I'll show you the rest of it in just a moment. And this contains a lot of handy items. And these, I have multiple types of bandages, band-aids, you know, dust mask, although those aren't the most important things there are. But I do have some items for treating chemical burns and chemical wounds should there be a type of chemical attack or you're exposed to different chemical agents. I do carry that in this kit. But speaking of the emergency kits, this is a strap-on leg kit. It straps right onto my leg here, so it's not in the way of my pack. And this is an excellent kit. This is a very, very good kit. And in this one, you have everything from your tourniquet type bandage to complete wound dressing and blood transfusion kits. You also have a first responder card in there, giving you information on all that. For my long-term survival and for the gear I have in my bug out location, I have much more in-depth medical supplies and gear. I have complete surgical kits, a lot, but I can't carry all that with me. This is all I can carry with me, this. And next, we have our food supply. And I tend to gravitate towards these because they're really cheap, and at 2,400 calories, even though they're not that delicious, they will sustain you for quite a while. And I do manage to keep 4 of these in this pack, which 4 of these at 2,400 calories gives me over 10,000 calories. So that could last me for several days. Also, I do have a small portion of the very bottom of my kit, a small portion of Wise food that I keep. Now, I know that I need to get a better protective wrapper, but when you pack this much items into one kit, sometimes you're just sticking things where they'll go. And I have a total of 6, I think, packages here at 4 servings each. 2, 3, 4. No, I have 4 packages here at 4 servings each, which gives me 16 more servings. So if I had to cut back to 1 to 2 servings a day, then that's easily a week's supply of food. And a few more items, not many more, but I also managed to pack in a small other first aid kit, although there really isn't much in this particular kit. This kit is mainly, I just mainly keep this kit for the fact that it's somewhat waterproof, it zips shut, and I can keep other things in it if necessary. But there is a small amount of, you know, sterilizing pads and things such as that in there. And the final thing inside the kit here is more glow sticks. So I keep more glow sticks, keep those handy so that I can light up my area if necessary. Up top here, these are all my fire starting. I have these small zip fire starters. These work really good. You don't have to use the whole thing. You can just cut off small pieces, get your fire started. Your kindling, and your tinder, get it ready, and then get your fire started. So I keep a few of those in there to make it easier, especially if it's cold and damp. Fire steel here with a scraper built onto it. A knife sharpener, and these actually work pretty decent on some of the lower quality knives, but the tougher the steel, the harder it is sharpening with those. A waterproof container with matches, waterproof matches, and also a couple of more fire steels here. I like the fire steel, they work pretty good for me. These here, they don't cost, these are about 12, 13 bucks each. These are about 5, and they do tend to last you for quite a while. Excellent means for starting fire. And a diamond sharpener for my knives. So when we look at the kit, that pretty much empties it out, and it's not easy to get all those supplies into one kit. It takes some packing, it takes some time, some patience, pulling it back out, reorganizing it, and such as that. But overall, we have enough supplies here to sustain ourselves for quite a while. I could sustain myself as an individual for easily, just on the supplies in this bag, for a good, 2 weeks to a month. And that's before I have to worry about boiling water and catching fish and starting to hunt. So these supplies, not all of them are a necessity, but they all benefit you in one way or another. And if there is like an EMP type of event, then yes, some of these supplies are useless and we just throw them out and that frees up space in our pack. But if it isn't an EMP event, if it's just without rule of law or a shit hit the fan scenario, then these types of items will benefit us greatly, especially when we couple these with what we already have stored in our vehicles. So if we have our vehicle kits ready and our bug out bag ready, and not to mention the next bag in the series, the long-term survival kit, if we have those, then we are as prepared as we can be as far as gear goes. Now I have more firearms. If it comes down to a SHTF scenario without rule of law, then I'm definitely going to be carrying more than just my CZ here. But if you saw the other videos, then you'll see that I do have another pistol that I keep in my auto bag. I love my CZ, but I also have other firearms that I carry. This is my primary pistol, even though it is a 9mm. A lot of people don't like 9mm as much as they do some of the larger calibers. I load my own ammunition, so I load them the way I want, and they shoot pretty hard. But I do carry an AR-15 also. I find it to be a very reliable weapon. AK-47 is just as reliable, if not more reliable these days. And there are a lot of aftermarket accessories. The reason I tend to gravitate towards the AR-15 over the AK-47 is because if it is a without rule of law and we're having to gather ammo and gather parts locally, then it's probably going to be 5.56 ammo, 223, and it's probably going to be AR-15 or similar parts. All these items serve a specific purpose. Some of them are necessary, definitely, and some of them are luxury items. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. And for now, Serious Survivor, out.